It's a rivalry that no one quite saw coming this dramatically. Elon Musk and Donald Trump, once allies in both politics and industry, now locked in a public feud that has taken over social media and mainstream headlines. This isn't just a spat between two powerful figures. It's a spectacle, a clash of titans whose personal animosities threaten to send ripples across the very foundations of American power. What began as mutual admiration and a shared ideological lean, a subtle nodding of heads between two of America's most powerful and polarizing figures, has now exploded into a full-blown war of words, cutting accusations, and a very public, undignified fallout. And as the world watches with bated breath, trends fixed by the unfolding drama, the consequences of this unprecedented head-to-head clash between a maverick tech mogul and a former president could fundamentally reshape both the political and technological landscapes of the country, leaving indelible marks on its future trajectory. Elon Musk, the enigmatic CEO of trailblazing companies like Tesla, the electric vehicle pioneer, SpaceX, the aerospace giant, and the audacious owner of X, formerly Twitter, his personal megaphone, has never been a stranger to controversy. Indeed, he seems to thrive in its turbulent waters. Bold, often brash, and notoriously unfiltered, he frequently uses his immensely influential social media platform to air his opinions, settle perceived scores with rivals or critics, and even, at times, directly influence financial markets with a single tweet. His public persona is meticulously cultivated chaos, a blend of visionary genius and online provocateur. Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States and a two-time Republican nominee who continues to exert an unparalleled grip on his party, shares many of these same volatile traits. He's outspoken to a fault, famously unpredictable in his actions and statements, and thrives on the unwavering loyalty and fervent energy of his political base. For a considerable period, their shared characteristics, a disdain for traditional media, a belief in unbridled speech, and a penchant for disruption, seemed to draw them together, forging an unlikely yet seemingly natural alliance. Musk was, for a time, even part of Trump's business advisory councils during his presidency, offering technological insights and tacit support. The two often echoed similar sentiments about the sanctity of free speech, the inherent biases of mainstream media outlets, and the perceived inefficiencies and bureaucratic inertia of traditional government systems, finding common ground in their anti-establishment rhetoric. But beneath the surface of this perceived alliance, cracks began forming, subtly at first, then widening into fissures. The first major strain appeared when Trump was dramatically banned from major social media platforms, including Twitter, following the tumultuous events of the January 6th Capitol riots. While Trump was exiled from these digital public squares, Musk, still somewhat of an outsider in the entrenched political circles at that time, began to more actively carve out his own, increasingly influential role in shaping public discourse in the digital town square. His acquisition of Twitter in 2022, a colossal and often chaotic endeavor, and its subsequent rebranding as X, catapulted him into the very center of debates about free speech, censorship, and platform governance. Upon taking ownership, Musk made global headlines for his controversial decision to reinstate previously banned accounts, a move he framed as a commitment to absolute free speech. Among the most prominent of these reinstated accounts was, notably, Donald Trump's. It was widely seen by many, including Trump himself, as a significant olive branch, a powerful signal that Musk not only supported Trump's brand of unapologetic, often provocative speech, but also perhaps sought to bring him back into the digital fold. However, the fragile truce, or even burgeoning alliance, took a dramatic and unforeseen turn in 2024. Trump, by then deeply entrenched in his third campaign for the presidency, reportedly began seeking large-scale financial support from major donors to fuel his colossal political machine. According to whispers from campaign insiders and well-placed sources, Elon Musk was directly approached to contribute a staggering $300 million toward Trump's presidential campaign. While specific details remain tantalizingly murky, shrouded in the kind of secrecy that always surrounds high-stakes political financing, it is widely alleged that Musk did indeed provide significant, if not necessarily the full requested amount of funding. This alleged financial backing, a colossal sum even for a billionaire, would later become the precise seed of their spectacular fallout, transforming a transactional political alliance into a bitter, personal vendetta. Fast forward to June of 2025, and the landscape has completely shifted. Everything has changed with a sudden, violent rupture. On a late evening in June, as the political world buzzed with the latest campaign developments, Musk abruptly took to X, his platform of choice, and dropped an absolute bombshell that instantly detonated across the internet. He openly and directly accused Trump of being mentioned in the still unreleased and highly sensitive Jeffrey Epstein files. Time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files, Musk tweeted, the brevity of the statement belying its seismic impact. The internet, ever vigilant for controversy, immediately erupted. The timing was pointed, the wording brutally direct, and the source, a tech billionaire and political influencer, was unprecedented. It was a direct, unprovoked, and devastatingly public attack from a former ally. The accusations hurled by Musk were far more than just vague speculation. They were meticulously crafted to inflict maximum damage and leverage a topic of intense public intrigue. Musk specifically suggested that the reason the infamous Epstein files, long shrouded in mystery and speculation, hadn't been fully made public was precisely because of Trump's alleged presence within them. Given how sensitive, secretive, and deeply unsettling the Epstein saga has remained, with its shadowy connections to powerful figures across the globe, Musk's tweet was both a political nuclear weapon and a PR disaster waiting to unfold for Trump. But Musk, never one to pull punches once engaged, didn't stop there. He then doubled down on his assertions, claiming that without his direct financial support, Trump wouldn't have won the 2024 election. This calculated claim essentially ripped away any pretense of a political alliance, transforming their relationship into a brutal, overt power struggle. Musk wasn't merely leveling an accusation. He was asserting that Trump owed his political survival, his very victory, directly to Musk's financial intervention, positioning himself as the puppet master behind the throne. Trump's response, as expected, was swift, visceral, and fierce. Reports from sources intimately close to the Trump campaign suggested that he was utterly enraged by Musk's public betrayal and the inflammatory nature of the accusations. He reportedly immediately began making a flurry of furious phone calls, directing his aides and political allies to explore all possible avenues to sever government ties with Musk's vast corporate empire. Within mere hours of Musk's incendiary tweet, rumors began circulating at the highest levels of Washington that Trump was threatening to cut off all federal contracts with SpaceX, the linchpin of American space launch capabilities, Tesla, the electric vehicle giant, and any other Musk-affiliated firms. This was no idle threat. It was a major, potentially crippling blow, especially considering how much federal funding, military collaboration, and strategic partnerships SpaceX receives for everything from national defense satellite launches to the development of next-generation space infrastructure. Trump, with characteristic bluntness, was now using the very machinery and vast leverage of the U.S. government to strike back at his perceived betrayer, demonstrating the immense intertwined power of both tech and politics. Meanwhile, Musk, ever the master of the digital battlefield, engaged in his own highly theatrical counteroffensive. He began posting a flurry of memes, sarcastic responses, and cryptic threats of his own on X, amplifying the drama for his hundreds of millions of followers. He strategically liked and retweeted posts that directly called for Trump's impeachment, again, subtly fueling the fires of political opposition. He even resurrected old, seemingly innocuous tweets that reminisced about their past, seemingly friendly alliance, subtly highlighting Trump's alleged hypocrisy. In one particularly pointed exchange, Musk responded a simple declarative yes when someone asked if Trump should be impeached again, sending a clear, unequivocal message to his followers in the world. The internet, of course, ran wild with the unfolding spectacle, dissecting every tweet, creating viral memes, and generating endless hot takes from every conceivable angle. For younger generations and politically tuned-in netizens, this wasn't just conventional politics or corporate maneuvering. It was a high-stakes, hyper-public celebrity drama of the highest order, unfolding in real time, blurring the lines between entertainment and governance. But beneath the captivating spectacle, the stakes are profoundly real, and the potential consequences could be devastating, far-reaching beyond the immediate protagonists. First, there's the immediate and potentially catastrophic impact on Musk's businesses. SpaceX, in particular, relies heavily on lucrative and vital government contracts with NASA and the Department of Defense for its rockets and satellite launches. Tesla, despite being a publicly traded automaker, has benefited enormously from federal green energy subsidies, consumer tax credits for electric vehicles, and ambitious infrastructure programs aimed at building out charging networks. If Trump, once again in the White House, follows through with his threats to cut off all federal collaboration and funding, the effects could ripple violently through the tech, aerospace, and energy sectors, potentially undermining Musk's financial liquidity and strategic objectives. Investors might panic, shares could plummet, and shareholders could initiate lawsuits, all of which would severely hinder Musk's ambitious ability to fund his myriad ventures, from colonizing Mars to developing advanced AI. Then there's the equally significant political fallout. Trump's fiercely loyal base, traditionally characterized by its anti-elite sentiment and deep skepticism of big tech's influence, might view Musk's public betrayal as stark confirmation of their deepest suspicions, that even billionaires, especially tech billionaires, are ultimately not to be trusted and seek only to manipulate political outcomes for their own gain. This narrative could further solidify their distrust of Silicon Valley. Meanwhile, Musk's own, somewhat paradoxical, libertarian-leaning fan base is being sharply divided. Some among them applaud him for courageously calling out Trump, especially on an explosively sensitive topic like Epstein, viewing it as a noble stand for transparency. Others, however, are accusing him of profound hypocrisy, arguing that he is merely using his own platform to settle intensely personal scores and wield undue political influence, contradicting his own stated principles of free discourse. What's especially unique and, indeed, unprecedented about this public feud is its sheer unbridled visibility. In traditional political and corporate spats, such high-stakes confrontations are almost always handled meticulously behind closed doors, with battalions of PR firms and legal teams working feverishly to manage the damage, control the narrative, and prevent public exposure. But in the Musk-Trump drama, every single move, every retaliatory jab, every accusation is being made out in the wide open on social media, with hundreds of millions of people watching and reacting in real time. It's like watching a high-stakes chess game being played simultaneously on a global jumbotron, except the players are constantly throwing pieces off the board every few hours, reveling in the chaos. This performative aspect amplifies the drama and the potential for unpredictable escalation. Insiders and geopolitical analysts also point out that this escalating feud could have profound international implications. Musk's business interests are heavily involved in global markets, from Tesla's massive production facilities and sales in China and Europe to SpaceX's increasingly ubiquitous global satellite internet program, Starlink, which serves diverse nations and even war zones. If the U.S. government, under Trump's directive, overtly distances itself from Musk and his companies, will other nations follow suit, perhaps seeing Musk as a liability or an unpredictable partner? Or conversely, will Musk, ever the pragmatist and globalist, pivot more aggressively away from the U.S. altogether and focus on building his empire internationally, strategically reducing his reliance on American federal contracts and further distancing his powerful tech enterprises from government oversight and potential interference? This could lead to a significant shift in global technological power dynamics. As for Trump, this public feud, paradoxically, may actually embolden him and provide him with a fresh narrative tool. He is already adept at portraying figures of immense wealth and influence as part of a corrupt, manipulative elite attempting to control politics and undermine the will of the people. In future rallies, press statements, and digital broadsides, Trump is almost certainly expected to weaponize Musk's betrayal as a powerful talking point, claiming that he is valiantly fighting against powerful, unelected tech interests to represent the forgotten American, the average citizen against the Davos class. It's a populist narrative that has worked incredibly effectively for him before, striking a deep chord with his base, and it may very well work again. Unless, of course, Musk decides to go even further and start actively supporting a rival Republican candidate, thereby attempting to fracture Trump's political base from within. There are whispers, too, about the significant legal implications of this escalating conflict. If Musk's explosive claims about Trump in the Epstein files are proven false or deemed defamatory, it could undeniably lead to a barrage of costly and protracted lawsuits, both civil and potentially even criminal, depending on the nature of the allegations. Trump is famously not one to back down from a legal battle, having used the courts as a weapon throughout his career. And Musk, despite his often reckless bravado and public disregard for legal niceties, has faced legal trouble before for his online comments. One need only recall the infamous pedo guy lawsuit, where Musk narrowly escaped a defamation charge after a prolonged legal battle. This one, given the national significance of the figures and the explosive nature of the Epstein connection, could be far, far more explosive, dragging both men through a public legal quagmire that would expose countless private details. But beyond the immediate headlines, the viral memes, and the palpable chaos, what this feud truly represents is a profound and unsettling shifting of power dynamics in America. We are watching in real time as two titans, one a master of traditional politics and populist movements, the other a titan of technological innovation and global communication platforms, battle not just for personal pride, but for control over narratives, for ultimate influence over public discourse, and for the very trust of the populace. In the 20th century, wars were largely fought with armies, ballots, and industrial might. In the 21st, increasingly, these wars are fought with tweets, algorithms, data servers, and the raw, unfiltered power of social media platforms. The battlefield has digitized, but the stakes remain as high as ever. Some astute observers argue that this feud was, in fact, inevitable. When immense power and influence become concentrated in the hands of a few highly individualistic, often egomaniacal personalities, egos will invariably clash. Trump and Musk are more than just powerful men. They are, in essence, brands, complex belief systems, and even nascent movements unto themselves, each commanding a fervent following that views them as leaders in distinct domains. And when such outsized identities clash head-on, the fallout isn't just personal, it radiates outwards, affecting millions who follow and believe in them, creating deep ideological rifts within the public sphere. Could this feud lead to a significant, long-term political realignment in America? It's a distinct possibility. If Musk fully breaks from Trump, cutting all ties and publicly distancing himself, he may throw his immense financial and influential support behind a new breed of political candidate. Perhaps one that is tech-savvy, ostensibly anti-establishment, but not tethered to the more polarizing aspects of Trumpism, potentially appealing to a younger, more libertarian segment of the electorate. Or perhaps, in a move that would send even greater shockwaves, Musk himself might finally flirt with direct political aspirations, moving beyond being a mere influencer to becoming a direct participant. He's dismissed the idea of running for office in the past, citing his non-U.S. birth, though he's a naturalized citizen and theoretically eligible for lower offices. But in today's unpredictable political world, that often means little. Stranger things indeed have happened. In the short term, we can undoubtedly expect more fireworks, more public skirmishes, and a relentless barrage of digital warfare. Trump will likely double down on his campaign messaging, painting Musk as just another out-of-touch, manipulative elite billionaire trying to control politics from his Silicon Valley ivory tower. Musk, ever the showman, will respond with characteristically audacious tweets, perhaps timed with new product announcements, and maybe even an X-exclusive live stream or space launch event that sets new viewership records, using his platforms to amplify his narrative. Both men possess an almost unparalleled understanding of how to control and manipulate the modern media cycle. And both will undoubtedly use every tool at their disposal, legal or otherwise, to inflict maximum damage on the other. And yet, watching this unfold, one can't help but feel a pervasive sense of déjà vu. We've certainly seen public feuds before, even between titans of industry and politics, Steve Jobs versus Bill Gates, a rivalry that shaped the tech world. Jeff Bezos versus traditional retail, a battle for economic dominance. Mark Zuckerberg versus Congress, a clash between innovation and regulation. But none arguably, with this level of open spectacle, this raw personal animosity playing out in real time on global platforms. None with such potentially far-reaching, unpredictable consequences for democracy, for the future of technology, and for the very nature of public trust in an increasingly digital world. As it stands in early June 2025, the Musk-Trump feud is far more than just a fleeting headline or a celebrity dust-up. It's a chilling yet fascinating glimpse into the future of power in America, increasingly decentralized from traditional institutions, intensely personality-driven, and fought viciously on the very digital platforms we once used to share cat videos and lighthearted memes. Whether it ultimately ends in crippling lawsuits, profound political upheaval and realignment, or some shocking, perhaps financially motivated, reconciliation behind closed doors, one thing's for certain, this is a story far from over. It is a defining narrative of our current era, demonstrating how personal vendettas between two of the most powerful individuals can shake the very foundations of nations.